Now available in paperback, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Pick up your copy of John Haynes at Death's Door at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. I was watching a Chris Crazyhouse video where he was talking about how some comic book publishers are not paying artists for their work. And after reading a Bleeding Cool article, I read about how several artists were not getting paid for their work, and some were just not getting paid on time for their work. Now, this is a very troubling revelation to me, because I would think that companies like Marvel and DC Comics, which are subsidiaries of your Disney and your Warner Brothers Discovery, multi-billion-dollar corporations, would easily be able to find the $2,500 to $5,000 that would be needed to go out here and pay a comic artist for 22 pages of work that they do possibly every month on one of their comics. I would think that a multi-billion-dollar corporation like a Warner Brothers Discovery or Disney would easily be able to go out here and cut a check for $2,500 to $5,000 for an artist's work that they put together in a month, because they would have billions of dollars in revenue from things like the licensing as related to merchandising for the characters at Marvel and your DC, and they would also have money from the box office from many of these MCU and DC Extended Universe projects. Because for the publishing division to not have the $2,500 to $5,000 to pay a comic artist really makes these corporations and some of these smaller comic publishers look extremely unprofessional. Because when a publisher isn't able to go out here and pay an artist for their work, it really shows that that publisher is not really on point about their business. Now, as a publisher myself, I know that being able to pay an artist is something that I make a priority, and I make it a priority because for me, it's about showing respect for somebody who's taking the time to go out here and put in labor drawing my characters and bringing them to life in an image. So at SJS Direct, whenever I go out here and I approach an artist, I usually have their money waiting for them in a PayPal account, and all they have to do is go out here and produce the cover or whatever comic project I ask them to do, like John Haynes at Death's Door or Easting No Good Deed. Any project that they do, they can know that their money is waiting for them. And I'm not talking about partial payments. I pay completely in full, because I understand that an artist's time is precious and their time should be compensated fairly on the rates that we agree to. And I know that there are some people out here who want to go out here and work in the comic book industry, and they oftentimes want to go out here and give passes to publishers by saying, okay, I'll put in this work, hoping that if they put in this work and don't demand money, what will happen is that the publisher will offer them more work. And that's a covert contract that will never be fulfilled, and what will happen is you will get taken advantage of. And I think that some comic pros, what happens is that they're getting taken advantage of by these comic publishers who are not respecting them as professionals. Because if you are a professional, you're going to show respect for another professional by going out here and making sure their money is ready when the project is fully complete, or even before it's complete, because it depends on the case. Usually, if I'm working with an artist, if some of them want a partial payment, I will make sure to have that partial payment waiting for them, because I want them to be able to go out here and be able to take care of their bills as they're working on my project. So whenever I go out here and I'm working with an artist on a project, I will always make sure to count the cost, and in many cases I don't even approach that artist until I have the money ready for the project. That's again another sign of respect for your comic artist who I want to work with. If I'm approaching them, usually I have that money ready and I'm ready to go out here and pay for those services. So this is again something quite troubling to me, because if a small independent publisher like myself can go out here and make sure that artists are paid for their labor, I'm wondering what's wrong with a subsidiary of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and I'm wondering what's wrong with many of these other comic publishers who are on the shelves of comic book stores all across the country. Why can't they go out here and get an artist their money? I mean, you already have this money from, again, at a multi-billion-dollar corporation from merchandising, and the money that you're spending in publishing is basically small change that you're paying just to go out here and secure the trademarks for that intellectual property. And you would think that you would go out here and have the money ready for these artists once they complete the project, and you would think you would be able to pay these artists for their labor. That's what I would think as related to many of these comic publishers who are not paying your artist on time. And again, not paying your artist on time is a expression of disrespect as I see it. And I've heard from many comic artists I've talked to online. They express frustration about how many of these companies go out here and have been mistreating people for years. I mean, some people have talked about how they only get partial payments, which I always believe is unfair, because you don't have partial payment on bills. I mean, when that artist is working on your project, they are working on things, and they have to pay their electricity, they have to pay their rent, they have to pay taxes. They have all of these bills that they have to pay in order to go out here and do your projects. And it's very, as I see it, disrespectful to go out here and ask people to work for you and not have their money on time. And again, just very unprofessional as I see it. And it's just not something that I am happy to hear about, because I myself am a writer, and I know that I would want to get paid on time if I'm working on a story and I'm working with you towards getting to the finish line on the story. I would want to get paid on time. But this all goes back to principles that I've learned, again, as a servant of the Most High. I always want to treat people like I want to be treated, and because I want to do unto others as I want done unto me, one of the things I want to do is go out here and make sure I can pay people on time for their labor. And I'm just deeply disappointed to hear that comic artists are not getting paid for their labor, because, again, $2,500 to $5,000 for a multi-billion-dollar corporation or a multi-million-dollar corporation, that's not a lot of money, but that money can go out here and it allows an artist to go out here and pay their bills or supplement their income. I mean, some people, this $2,500 to $5,000 is what they go out here and are paying their bills with. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always making sure that I have that money ready, because I understand that a lot of comic artists, this is how they make their living. And this is something that you have to do. If you're going out here and you're doing a project, you make sure that your talent is taken care of, because your talent, they need to go out here and have this money so that they can go out here and, again, pay their rent, do their laundry, go out and be able to go to the supermarket. I mean, these are things that comic artists have to do in order to get the comics that everybody reads every day. And again, the best way you show gratitude to a comic professional is paying them on time. And that's something, again, that I've always tried to do all throughout my career at SJS Direct. When I'm working with an artist, always try to make sure that I pay them on time and pay them in full, because it's just, again, if you are working for someone, you want to make sure that they're taken care of. And I really, again, I find it disappointing that your companies are not taking care of their artists, because if you want to have a good run with a artist and you want to build a professional relationship, one of the ways you do that is by showing respect for your talent. And you show respect by going out here and making sure that their money is there and waiting for them once they complete that project. And again, I'm looking at it, and this just is sloppy editorial, sloppy business management. And because any business person like myself who's in publishing, before I even contact the artist, I've already started drafting out the budget and working out the logistics. I'm working out how many pages this project is going to be, how much it's going to cost per page, and what artist would be a good fit for the budget. And I always try to allocate a little for overruns, because sometimes you do go 2 or 3 pages over. Sometimes you're in the middle of a story and you're thinking, oh, I might do this as a 5-panel page or a 6-panel page, but sometimes you're working with an artist and you may have to chop that page, and you want to make sure that there's some money there for some overruns. And that's what you want to do. And you want to make sure, again, that your talent is able to go out here and be taken care of so that they can do the work that you need. And you want to make sure that they can go out here and be able to come out of the project with some money in their pocket. Again, artists aren't doing this stuff for free, and I understand that from minute one. I mean, when I go to an artist, again, I'm asking, what are your page rates? I'm asking, what are your how fast can you do it, and what type of details that you're looking at. I'm looking at your work. And again, I'm looking at it, and when I'm looking at it, I'm looking to go out here and pay the price for that work, because I see the value in that work and sharing it with all of my readers. And that's something that I don't see your comic publisher showing that type of gratitude to your comic artist. And again, not paying your people is lame. And when I look at it again, part of it is the publisher's fault, because it's just sloppy publishing. And some artists, I think, are a little too eager, like Crazy House was talking about, by making these kind of deals, because the first thing you want to do as somebody in the business is you want to make sure you get paid. You shouldn't be waiting for payment for too long. I mean, you should be getting paid in some way, shape, or form. And usually, depending on the artist I'm working with, some will they do get paid. Some get paid before, some get after. But I do make sure that artists are paid, because I have their money ready and waiting for them. And all it is that I'm waiting for them to deliver the product, and they go out here and they're gonna get paid. And again, it's all about showing respect for your talent. And when I look at this, again, it's disrespectful to me, because when I look at this, it just, again, is really unprofessional. And it just shows how the editorial in the comic book business these days is not on point, because I've read back in the 80s and in the 90s, when artists were out here and they produced work and they delivered work, they automatically had a check cut. But it's just sloppy business when you go out here and a guy is waiting weeks and even months to get paid. His bills are not going to wait weeks and months. And if you want this artist to work with you again, you want to make sure that they are getting paid to take care of those bills, so that they can go out here and be able to produce a solid and consistent run of books. because again, I look at it as, you know, you have a contract and you're supposed to try to fulfill and honor that contract, and you want to go out here and build a professional reputation with people in the circles of comics. So you want to go out here and build a professional reputation where people are saying, hey, this company pays on time, this company pays good rates, this company makes sure that artists are taken care of. And that's something that's sad to hear, that you have big companies that are not doing this. But at SJS Direct, I want to make sure that artists are taken care of. I want to build a quality brand. I mean, I may not produce that many comics like these big companies, but again, I want to build a reputation where artists are respected, because as an artist myself and a writer myself, I want people to know that they're going to be able to, when they take an SJS Direct project, they're going to come out of it being compensated, and they're going to be able to have a project that will go out here and be on the market, and they are going to be paid for that work, and they're going to be paid on a standard rate like everybody else. Now, when it comes to royalties, I couldn't offer royalties because right now, because I'm not right there yet. But if I were to sell thousands of copies, I would be offering that compensation, and I would also be offering complimentary copies. Again, want to give the creators respect for the work that they put in, and I want to show that respect, and that's something that I'm not seeing as related to this story that I've heard. And I really feel bad for all of those artists, because I know a lot of artists, it's their dream to work at one of these comic companies, and this whole thing is it's a sad thing to do, because it's just like one of those things that the late Jack Kirby said, it breaks your heart to hear about, and it breaks my heart to hear about artists not getting paid, because again, a lot of kids like myself, they dream of going out here and making comics, and it is just sad that the industry does not go out here and make this business as professional as trade publishing, because in trade publishing, people, when they go to an artist, the artist gets paid for their cover work, the artist goes out here and gets credit for their cover work, and the artist goes out here and is treated very well. I mean, when I'm doing SJS Direct books, all the artists get art credits on Amazon and other online booksellers. I mean, they get illustrator credits. Everybody gets, again, compensated on time and gets their name on the book along with mine. And again, that's another sign of respect that I have, because I want people to know that this artist did this work, and I want people to see that I want them to know that I really respect their work. So I look at this whole story, and again, it just shows that there's a problem with the business side of comics, and a lot of people on the business side are not taking care of business as related to taking care of the talent. Now, if you want to pick up my first comic, Esteem, No Good Deed, it's available on Kindle for 99 cents. And if you want to pick up my SJS Direct titles in the SJS Direct universe, such as the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and novels like Eternal Night and the Thetas, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find those titles at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem, Horror of the Hyena Woman. Elle's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new Esteem series adventure. Get Esteem, Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. Sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.